Hello and welcome to this podcast. My name is Emma and this is a podcast where I talk about my knitting projects and maybe a bit of other crafts like embroidery or sewing, but mainly knitting. This is the episode 3, so welcome. Today I have 3 finished objects, 3 whips, some swatches and a bit of mending. So let's start. So the first object that I have to show you is already a finished object that I showed you in the first episode. So you've already seen it if you saw the first episode. This is the pan cardigan, and if you watched the first episode, I didn't put the buttons on yet, and I was looking for them. So I wanted to put some wooden buttons, but I thought that the brown of the wood and the grey of the cardigan didn't go well together. So I found those buttons a few weeks ago and I put them on. Maybe I can show you a little closer with one button. So yeah, so I put 4 buttons in the pattern. There are only 3 buttons, a bit bigger than that, but I put 4 because I didn't want the front to open between the buttons. So I thought I would put more of them, and I'm really happy about it because it looks finished. Even more when I wear it, I think. And it's even better because I was really feeling that it was missing something, because when I was a bit cold and that I wanted to wrap up in my cardigan and I wanted to close it, I couldn't, so I had to hold it, which is a lot easier now that I have the buttons on, and yeah, it's a lot more wearable, I think. Now the next step might be to put the pockets, because in the patterns there are pockets on the 2 sides. But for that I have to wait because I'm knitting another jumper and it's the same yarn, and I'm not sure I have enough to finish the jumper and both knit the pockets too. So I'd rather have a finished sweater and no pockets than pockets and that I'm not able to finish the sweater. So I'm going to show you the sweater later in the podcast. So yeah, really happy about it. I can finally wear it when it's cold and I can close it. So this is the first half finished object, but it was already finished before. So the first real finished object is the Midnight Dancer socks by Sari Nordlund. I already showed them to you because I already knit the first sock and I needed to knit the second one. So it's a yarn that I hand dyed with madder and turmeric. So I with the speckles. So I really like how it looks like. And there aren't as many speckles everywhere. Like for example, there are more speckles here on the top of the sock and a bit less on the foot part. But I really like the way it looks. They're quite soft and they got softer after I washed them. I know it's not a sock yarn, so there's no nylon in it. It's just I think it might be the yarn, a yarn from Drops, the Flora, I guess, which would be sheep wool and alpaca. I think 40% alpaca. So there's no nylon, but I'll see how it wears with the time. I've already been wearing them quite a lot, and we can see that on the heel we can see the use, that it's already like maybe felting a bit. On this side maybe we see it a bit more. No, I think you could see it. It's not, we don't see it a lot. And on the rest of the foot there's no problem. I'm wearing them in my shoes, so I spend a whole day with them at my feet in my shoes. I walk with them, so I'm getting quite a lot of wear out of them. So we'll see in the future. So the pattern, I think I already talked a bit about it, but it's a top-down pattern. It's really easy, and I don't have, like, except for the ruffles on the top of the sock. For the rest of the sock, it's just like vanilla socks. So it's an easy project. It's a project that it's my on-the-go project that I can knit without thinking too much. I just have to pick it up. It's small, so it's easy to take, and yeah. And it's good because I only had this left of the yarn, so really not much left. So it was just perfect. I think I made them quite a bit too long on the leg part. Now that I wear them, I should have made them a bit shorter, but not much, maybe just 2 centimeters, but maybe I'll make some other ones and I'll make them shorter. So this was my first project. I'm just looking at the notes to see if I didn't forget anything. No, I think that's it. So yeah, this was the first project, the first finished object. The second one are socks again, that I started after I recorded the last episode. So to understand why I made the socks. So we do a lot of trekking, of bike packing, and we sleep outside in a tent. So we need to have warm garments, and there's no exception for the feet. And so when we stop, when we go hiking, for example, and trekking, we have our trekking shoes. When we go bike packing, we have our bike shoes. So when we stop, we need to change our shoes, and most of the time we take flip-flops because, well, it's quite light and it's easy to wear, and so we needed some socks that we could wear with flip-flops. So I made socks with Tabi toes. If you don't know what it is, it's socks with the big toe that's apart, like the thumb, for example, that we make apart. Well, for the socks, we just need the big toe apart. So both my partner and I needed those socks, so I started with him. So this is the sock. It's quite a big one because it's not for me. So I still had quite a lot of sock yarn with nylon left. So I took a bowl for to make his socks, and I know that for him I need a bit more than one bowl of 50 grams to a fingering white yarn to make one pair of socks for him. So I knew that I had to take 2 bowls. So I wanted to make them exactly the same. since I had to take 2 balls. So I started from, for the rest it's just vanilla socks. So I started from the top. I did a tubular cast on for it to be elastic. Then I made a 1x1 rib, then a long cuff, and I used the fish lips kissed heel for the heel. I had been using it at the beginning when I was knitting my first pair of socks. I think maybe the 2 or 3 first pairs of socks that I knitted, I knitted them with this heel, and then I found the heel flap and gusset that I really liked, so I stopped knitting with this heel, and I thought that I would try again, just to see how it fits on the foot, and I think I quite like it because I think it fits him quite well. So this is the heel that I made here. The fish lips kissed heel is a paid pattern, but I think it's $1. So it's really accessible, and I think it's quite well explained. I didn't read everything to understand exactly where to stop and the rest. I just used the heel part, but I thought I would read a bit more of it. So in order to have maybe socks that fit better. We will see maybe in the future if I use it again or not, but I may knit my socks exactly the same way. So what I did here, as I was saying, I did a tubular cast on here. I think it stretches a lot, but it's not so elastic, I think, this cast on. It doesn't come back exactly the same way as it was before, so it can stretch quite a lot, so it's easy to put them on. It's not a problem to have them on. We don't feel that it's too tight, but it doesn't come back so exactly in the same way. So if you have a cast on that you like for the socks, I would be glad for you to write it down in a comment, so maybe I can try new cast-ons, because I've been knitting socks with this type of cast-on for almost all my socks, I think, because I think they're quite comfortable to wear, but I would like them to be a bit more elastic. So if you have any other cast-on that you like for socks, please tell me. And then for the rest of the sock, I just knit it until the big toe here. For him, I was knitting, I'm going to take my notes because I wrote it down. So, oh yeah, so with the first sock, I don't know what I did, but I started with 66, sorry, it was hard to say. So 66 stitches, and I don't really know why. So I had to decrease of 2 stitches to have 64, which is the perfect amount of stitches for my partner's feet. So I had to decrease those stitches in the ribbing part, and I think, yeah, we can see it. We can see it here. Just here. So it makes bit of like ruffled socks. No, but it's just, we see it because it's a bit bigger here, but I don't really mind. And on the other one, it's okay. It's a bit, we can see that it goes back a little bit more. And he's already been wearing them quite a lot. Yeah, I'm just looking. I think I didn't write it here, but I wrote it on my Ravelry page. So what I did with the toe. So I divided the stitches once on the left side and once on the right side, depending on the right sock or the left sock. So I put, for the big toe, I put 22 stitches. I cast on 4 stitches here in the middle, and then I knitted here in the round. I think I did 25 rounds. I kept, since it was top-down socks, cuff down, I made him try them on quite often, so I was sure that it was the perfect length for him. So I don't know, for him it was 25 rounds, but for me it will be less, obviously. So I'll see. And then I think at the top of the toe, at the end of the toe, the big toe, I knit 2 together every stitch. And then the second round I knit the last 3 stitches together, because I had 22 plus 4, so that makes 26, so yeah. And then the last 3 together, and then I passed the yarn through the rest of the stitches and closed it. And for the rest of the toes, I picked up 6 stitches here in the middle to avoid holes. So I picked up 6 stitches, and then I decreased of 2 stitches on each side, so I don't have the 2 more stitches. And then I knit straight here for I can't remember how many rounds, and then I knitted for a few rows here on the outside side, and then I decreased like a normal sock, and I did a grafting at the end here on the really like the end of a normal sock, because it's only smaller. And at the end here I decreased a bit too on the inside part. If you want to have the detail of every decrease that I made and when, you can look at my Ravelry page of those Tabi toes socks, because I put everything, because I wanted to be sure that I would have exactly the same second sock, so I needed to write down everything. I calculated, so I knit the big toe first, so I knew that the length was right. It was the good one for him, and then I made the calculations after for the rest of the toes, so it would be the same length to arrive at 27 rows. I will put the link down below of the project page if you want to have more information about that. And also with this yarn, so as I said, I took 2 different balls, but I thought that it was a repeating pattern. I couldn't really know where it would start again, where it was repeating. I think I thought it would be here to start and here again. I was not sure. I thought I didn't really see a pattern repeat, but I thought, well, if I take a second ball of yarn, it will be exactly the same. So that's what I did. I started at the same outside of the ball too, and it made 2 socks completely different. I really don't mind because those are socks, and I think that with this pattern it looks nice, but yeah. So with this colorway, it's not repeating itself. So if you want, oh, I didn't talk about the yarn. So this is Drops, their sock yarn. So Fable, I don't know how to pronounce it, Fable maybe. So Fable from Drops, which is a sock yarn with wool and nylon in it. Superwash yarn. So I think it's perfect for trekking socks that we won't be taking so much care of. We will wear them outside a lot and flip-flops. So yeah, I wanted to... It's easy if we wash them in the washing machine when we come back and stuff. So yeah. So this is the second finished object. And also, I washed the first one when I had finished it, and when I was knitting the second sock, I realized that the first one was a lot softer. So I think it gets. I think I didn't wash the second one. I think my partner was so excited to have them that he didn't want to wait for me to block them. So he wore them directly, and I think we can see the difference. Well, actually I can feel the difference. This one is a lot softer, and this was the first one. I'm not sure we can see the difference on the screen. Are the stitches a bit... do they look better? I'm not sure. But in terms of softness, the one that has been washed is a lot softer. So I don't mind for the fit to have a rougher yarn, but if for you it's important, do know that this yarn softens after the first wash. So this was my second finished object. What did I... Looking for my tea here. I'm drinking some chai that I made earlier. I love it. It's so comforting. It's a bit long to make. It takes a bit of time, but I love it. And the third finished object that I have is a hat. I didn't start... yes, I did start it. I think I showed it to you in the first episode, maybe. Or the second, I can't remember. I think the first one. So this is the iris hat from Sari Nordlund, which is a top-down hat in 1x1 ribbing, really easy to make, with a 3-folded brim here. I hold it the right direction, so 3-folded brim. I can't unfold it because I have the how is it called? I lost the name. So yeah, I can't unfold it more, but there's a third fold here. So when I showed it to you, I had already knit quite a lot of it, because when I was reknitting it, I think I had knit until here, maybe, yeah. and I realized that it was too big. So it's a pattern with only one size, and it should have been okay with the circumference of the hat. And this is a hat for my partner, so he has a bigger head than me, and the size should have been okay, but for any reason it was too big even for him, and my gauge was okay, so I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to rip it back until the increases around here, around the crown, and I wanted to rip it back until the last increase and not do it. So the last increase is on 2 different rows, and if I didn't make the last increase, I would lose 4.5 centimeters of circumference. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do, but I don't know if you watched the first episode or if you remember, but we start from the top and we make, I can't remember the name of the cast on. So it's a cast on in a round, and then we have to pull the yarn to close the round. I will put the name on the screen or down below. But the problem with this yarn was that it was too brittle. So every time I pulled on the yarn to close the hole, it would break. So I tried to attach another yarn that was stronger, but it didn't work. It was still breaking. So, I mean, the increases, the crown, the top of the beanie is not really big. So I ripped it back all the way to the top, and then I started the beanie with a sock yarn because that's what I had on hand. I was on holidays when I did this, and I only had some sock yarn. I think it was the yarn from those socks. So I took a bit that was the lighter part of it, and we can see it here on the top. We see one round that is a bit gray bluish. So that's the top of the hat. I don't mind at all, and my partner saw it and he said, "We still see the yarn," and then he said, "Okay, nobody's gonna look above my head to see how it's closed," and we really don't see it. So this is the crown. I really like how the increases are made. I think it looks good. And it's quite warm. So about the yarn, it's the tweed yarn from Drops, soft tweed. I have it here. Let me get it. I have it just here. So it's this one. I bought this yarn to knit this hat with it, because my partner wanted a hat with a bit beige and exactly like this. He told me it was exactly what he imagined. Quite warm on the ears with the 3-folded brim, and yeah, I really like this yarn. The only thing is it's this, you know, the same as the cuffs with the socks. I think it's really we can stretch it a lot, but then it's not elastic because it doesn't come back in the same way, and we can really see it because he's been wearing it quite a lot already. I finished it I think 2 weeks ago, and he's been wearing it almost every day. And we can see that on the brim here, it's already a bit, we can see the pearl stitches in between, whereas on the top of the hat we really don't see them. We only see the stitches. We don't see the pearl stitches. So it's a bit like it was knit on with stockinette stitch. I don't know if you can see the difference. I don't really mind, but I think it's not a yarn that is really elastic. And also I didn't block it because my partner said no, it doesn't need to be. It looks good like this. I think same as with the socks. He was just too excited to wear it. So he didn't want to have to wait for the hat to be blocked and to dry. I can put it on so you can see. It's a bit big for me because I did add 2 centimeters to the length, so it would sit on his head. It would look better for him, but we're both able to wear it. It's on me. See, I still have quite a bit of fabric here, and for him he still has some fabric left on the top of his head, so it doesn't sit completely on his head. But yeah, even for me, I've been wearing it too because it's warm and it's really nice to wear, and I like the color, and yeah, I like it too. So you see how it looks on the head. So yeah, I think that's it for this project. And I think the yarn is perfect for a hat because even if it's brittle, I don't know how it would wear on a garment like a jumper or a cardigan. I'm not sure. But if it was this brittle to pull it and that it would break every time that I would pull it, I'm not sure how it would resist to a garment. But for a hat, I think that's perfect. So that's it for the finished objects. And let's talk about the whips. What is the first one? I think the first one that I will show you is the jumper that I was talking about before, because you've already seen it. I showed it to you in my last episode, and maybe in the first one, I'm not sure. So, I still have a ball of yarn in here. So this is the Mahal sweater from Fiber Tales that I've been knitting for quite a while now. Oof, the yarn is getting out of the bowl, so I can show it to you properly. So the last time that I showed it to you, I had already knit one sleeve. The second one was waiting to be knit, and I had knit a part of the body, but I didn't finish the body yet. Also because I wanted to be sure that I would have enough yarn to knit both sleeves, and then with the length I would see. So if you can see it completely, so it's a top-down sweater, and so I think which was the sleeve that I already knit, I can't remember, but I realized when I tried it on This is for my sister. She's taller than me, so it's a bit hard because we don't see each other very often, so I had to, she gave me her measurements and I had to knit it with this, but she can't try it on. So the first sleeve when I knit it, I think that I saw her, she tried it on, but I hadn't finished the sleeve, and I don't know what I did, but I knitted really long. I knit a really long sleeve, and I think it was maybe 10 centimeters too long. So what I did was because to tell you a bit how I had knitted, I was knitting the body, and I don't know why I didn't finish the 2 balls of yarn that I was knitting with. So I'm knitting. My explanations go in different directions, so I didn't finish the first explanation and I'm already talking about something else. So just to understand, I'm knitting this with 2 strands of silk mohair held together. So I had 2 balls here that were still loose because I didn't finish to knit with them. The body was still on hold, and I was knitting the second sleeve, and it was a bit annoying because I had those 2 balls that kept unwinding and that kept falling and tangling together, so it wasn't really easy to knit with. So I finished the second sleeve on the right length this time. Then I took the body, I took back the body to finish the 2 balls of yarn that I had, and then I went back to the first sleeve that I knit, and I ripped it back to the same length as the second one, which was not easy. 2 strands of silk mohair held together. To unpick it, I had to unpick each stitch one by one, because you know the mohair kind of sticks together, so I had to pull a bit to undo every stitch. And then I don't know why I started to separate the 2 strands to make 2 balls again, which was impossible. So I just remade 1 ball, which is here, which I've been reusing to make the body. So I'm knitting this jumper on 3mm needle, and it's quite oversized, so it's a long jumper to make. But the good thing is that it was really easy. I hadn't been knitting on it for quite a while, and it was really easy to get back to it and to understand the pattern, the panel on the front. I'm not sure that if the rest of the body is moss stitch, 2 purl, 2 in stockinette stitch, 2 purl, and then it's like a square, so we have 2, 2, and then 2, 2, vertical and horizontally, vertically 2, yeah. And so I was saying that it was really easy to pick up because it's easy to understand where we're at for the front panel. We know when we have to do something, so it's every other row that we have to do something with the slip stitch, and every other row that we just knit without doing anything. And for this cable here, I've got this marker here, so I know where I'm at. So I've got this little, I don't know if you can see it well. So I'm here, and I change every time I finish a row. I change, I put here when I finished the first row, and I put it in this chain in the second one when I finished the second row, etc. So it's easy to follow. And I put this marker here to know where I was last time I showed it to you. So I was here, and I knit this part from here to the bottom here since last time, plus one sleeve, plus unpicked part of the first sleeve, and reknit it, reknit the cuff. So yeah, and I think I'm almost done with it. I have to ensure that, because I have the measurements my sister gave me, but I want to be sure that those are the right ones. I don't want to make it too long because it's quite oversized, so I don't want it to be like really big and too long, but I don't want to have it cropped either. So I think I have to ask her for her measurements, see if it's still the same, and yeah, I can maybe try it on. I can make a video so you can see how it looks like on me. So I made the first size, which is the smallest, and it would have been the right size for me, for my bust measurement. But if you go to the pattern page, you see that it's, I keep repeating, but it's really oversized. And my sister didn't want that, and she was supposed to wear a size 3, I think. And so I made a size 1 for her, and she will still have quite a lot of positive ease. So maybe I think when I finish it and that she gets it, I'll ask a photo so I can put it on my Ravelry page, and you can see the difference between the two sizes. I think it can be interesting to see the difference if you don't want to have such an oversized sweater, and you can see how it looks like when there's a bit less of positive ease. And I think I still have like 5 centimeters to go, and then do the ribbing, and then I'm done with it. And I still really love it. On the original pattern, there are some cherries on the side here, but she didn't want them, so I didn't knit them here. So this is my project that and it's dark, and I have to concentrate a bit to knit it, just to ensure that I don't miss a row or yeah. So I take it when I'm at home. I knit on it when I'm at home because it's a bit big too. So yeah, that's it for this jumper. And I still have a bit of the second ball from the body left here. The next work in progress. I'm gonna see what I have in those bags. I'm gonna take this one. So, this was a test knit for Sandra from Agasalhos and Bugalhos. I've already knit some of her patterns. I really like them. They're really easy to follow, they're really nice to make, and so when I saw this one, I thought I would make it. So this is a bloomer. And I knit it with this yarn, Flora from Drops, which is a fingering weight yarn, and a pattern was made for decay yarn, so I was holding this yarn double. And what I did was I already made pants for my baby that were too small. I showed them on the first episode, and if you want to see them, and they were too small on the back. They weren't high enough on the back, so I cut them like this, and I wasn't sure of what to do, and I thought, well, anyway, he's not wearing them, so what's the point of keeping them like this? So I used the yarn from the pants because he grew up since then, and since it was already a bit too small, I wouldn't be using them for anything else. So I used the same yarn, and it was the same gauge, so I didn't even need to swatch, which was perfect. And this is a top-down bloomer, so we start from the top, we cast on the stitches, we knit a double belt, I don't know how to call that. We knit it double, so we pick up the stitches from the cast on, and we knit them together with the stitches that we have on the needle, so we don't have to sew them at the end of the project. We can also do it so at the end, but I'd rather have them sewed during the knitting. And then we knit in the round. It's a pattern that she made to be able to knit either on the round or flat, which is good. I prefer to knit on the round. Then we make some short rows at the back to add a bit more room for the diapers. And I added some short rows, so I added 3 in total. So 1 before I started the short rows in the pattern, and 2 at the end. So it would be a bit bigger and a bit higher on the back, because we use cloth diapers that are a bit bigger than normal diapers. So we needed to have a bit more room at the back. So I did that, and then we continue to knit in the round, and we separate the legs. We do some shaping here, and then we knit in the round for the ribbing here for the leg. It's made double, same as the top of the bloomer, and we do the same on the other side. So as you may have noticed, it's a bit big. I don't know what I did, but when I followed the pattern, I just saw the color of the size, and I just thought, okay, I'm knitting this size, and I followed it. And it was not the right size, it was too big. So of course now it's too big for my baby. So it's okay, he can still wear it. But it's really big on him. It goes a bit too high on his belly, and I mean, for the winter it's gonna keep him warm for sure. But he's been wearing them a few times now, even though it wasn't finished, until my partner told me, okay, Emma, you have to finish it now. You can't let him wear that with the yarn that is not finished and it's still here. So I took it back, but since it's too big, I didn't have so much will to finish them. So it's been waiting for 2 weeks, I think, 3 weeks. Well, quite a long time when I only have to do the ribbing here, which is not long. The longest would be to pick up the stitches, which I don't like to do, but it's really well explained in the pattern. So we know how many stitches we have to pick up, where to put them, so it's not so hard, but I've been waiting a bit because I wanted to knit some other things that would be more used now, because I don't think he's going to be wearing them, those bloomers right now, because it's too big. I think he's going to be wearing them maybe in 6 months, when it's going to be spring and that it's going to be warm. But yeah, no problem. I forgot the name of the pattern, but I'm gonna write it on the screen and down below, so you do have the name. But it's really an easy project. It's really quick to knit because it's small, even though this one is too big, but it's still a really small project, so it's quite quick to make. I think that's it for this project. I don't have much more to say. It's a bit cold now. It's not as warm as when I started to record, but it's still good. And the last finished, no, not the finished object, the last work in progress is a hat, for me this time. I have it in this bag, that's also new. This is a bag that I made because I wanted to have a bigger project bag. The proportions are not right. I made it, I made the bottom too wide, so when I close it like this, it's smaller here than on the side. So I have to rethink the measurements, but I still love it and it's quite thick. I made a lining like the last one. It's pretty much the same project bag, but not with the same dimensions. So I put pockets in it. If I open it, maybe we can see it a bit better. So I put some pockets. It's white, so it's maybe not so easy to see. So I have 3 pockets of different sizes, so I can put some notions in it. I can put the yarn label in it. And so this is a hat. So when I finished the iris hat for my partner, I thought that I would knit one for myself because I need a warm hat. I was not sure about the pattern that I wanted to make. I thought that I would make a 4 layers, a brim with 4 layers and 2 layers on the top of the head. So I wanted to make a hat that I start from the top. I knit it, I do the increases, then I continue to knit it, I do the brim, and then I continue and I do the opposite. So I would put one and I would do the decrease at the bottom, and I would put the half of the hat in the rest of it. I think yeah, I can show it to you because I have one like this. So it's one like this. So we start at the top, we knit. I wanted to knit it in stockinette stitch and not make the 1 by 1 ribbing or 2 by 2 and anything. I wanted to make a whole stockinette stitch hat. So we continue. This is the brim part. And then we continue and do the decreases and close it. And when we're done, we can put half of the hat inside, and that makes a hat. And this one was supposed to have the brim folded like this. Well, anyway, so this one is too small, so I haven't been wearing it, but yeah, that was the idea. So I swatched because I went through my stash to see which yarn I had and that I could use for a hat. And because I really wanted to use some of my stash, so the first swatch that I made was this swatch. So this is the Holst yarn Super Soft that I had been using to make a jumper for my other sister. I hold it double to make a DK weight yarn. This is a light fingering, and it blooms. It blooms quite well after the first wash. So I made this swatch here, and what did I do with it? Did I wash it? No, I didn't wash it. But I know that it's still, since I already made a jumper with it, I thought the color was perfect, and I like this yarn. But I thought that it would be too stiff for a hat. I didn't want something too drapey either, but I thought this would be too stiff. It's a really small swatch, but yeah, I made it on 2.5 millimeters needle, and it would have, because I don't know if you see it, but there are small holes in here. Those are the holes I made to know how the size of the needles that I used. But yeah, it's quite open. The fabric is quite open. So I put it aside. I thought I would use it for something else, but I don't have that much left. I have this, the rest of the cone here, and this small bowl. I didn't weight it because there's the cardboard in it, and I don't know how much it weighs. But yeah, if you're interested, this is the color Gold Crest. So Holst yarn Super Soft Gold Crest, and I really like it. So I didn't use this to make my beanie, and I went again through my stash, and I found two different yarns. So I found the alpaca from Drops, which is a fingering weight yarn. It's 100% alpaca, and I had it in white, and I bought it to make a jumper quite a long time ago, maybe 3 years ago, and I don't think I'm gonna make this jumper, so I thought I would use this yarn to make something else. And the second one is the alpaca silk, still from Drops, which is made with 77% alpaca. No, this is not the right yarn. Sorry, I found it in my... No. This is not the right yarn. Do I have it here? It's the Melody. Sorry, I have it here. I'm gonna get it. This is the right label. Because I swatched with the alpaca silk too, but it wasn't right. And this is the Melody from Drops, which I also bought to make a jumper, but I don't like it anymore, so I haven't been using it, and I don't know why I only had 3 balls of it in this color. I don't know what I would have done with 3 balls for jumper. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I wouldn't make it, so I thought I would use it for the beanie too. So this one is 71% alpaca, 25% wool, and 4% polyamide. And it's said to be like quite a big yarn, but I think it's because it's very hairy, and we have to knit it with big needles so it can take some room in the garment, and it's still really airy. Because we're supposed to knit it with 7mm needle, which I did not. But I still made a swatch to see how it would look. So I'm a fairly loose knitter. And I made this swatch here using the alpaca and the melody together. So 1 strand of each. And I knitted on 2.5mm needles. And I thought that the fabric was really nice. It's quite thick, it's really dense. And so when I made this swatch, I realized that it would be too big, too warm to have a hat with 2 layers on the head and 4 layers on the ears. So I thought I would make only 1 layer on the head and 3 layers on the brim. So I changed a bit my mind, and I started from the bottom, from the brim, and I did a really basic hat. So this is the hat here. I already have it's already double folded. So I knit it from the bottom. I knit twice the length of the brim. Then I knit 1 row, exactly the same as with the bloomers. I knit 1 row, picking up the stitches from the cast on, and I knit it with the stitches that I have on the needle, and yeah, that keeps it together. And then continued, and yeah, and then I fold it. So this is 3 layers here. I continued here, and I'm on the first round of the decreases. I just measured it, comparing it to the other hats that we have, especially the iris hat. I made it a bit smaller. I had to restart it 3 times because the fabric is so dense that it does not stretch as much as the iris hat. It's in stockinette stitch, and the fabric is much denser, so here it doesn't stretch as much. So at the beginning I cast on 88 stitches, which was too big. Then I restarted it with 76 stitches, which was too small. And so third time was good. I made it with 80 stitches, which is now perfect. I tried it on, and it fits perfectly on my head. So I measured it. I did the calculations to see how I wanted to have the decreases, to know how many centimeters it would take. And so yeah, here it is. I put the information too in my Ravelry page, so if you want to make this hat too, it's easy to make it. And if you want to have it a bit bigger, you can just add a bit more stitches. But well, a really simple hat. I think I really rushed through this knitting because I started it a week ago, I think, and I don't like knitting it. The two yarns together, it's not nice. I don't think I like the melody very much. It's not elastic at all. It's so fluffy, so I'm not sure. Every time I knit a stitch, I'm not sure if I took the whole stitch with me or on the needle, or if I only took a bit of it, if I only took a bit of the fluff. Let me show you how the yarn looks like. Here, so you have a part of the alpaca and the part of the, here, you can see it. So this is the alpaca, the white one, and the gray one is the melody. And there's so much fluff, and it's really not elastic, you see. So it's not really nice to knit with it. Well, I don't like it. And I do want to have a hat to be able to wear because it's getting really cold. So yeah, I'm kind of rushing through it. And also because I want to knit other things, and this one is will be quite useful. So yeah, and I was knitting this hat on my circular needles, which are 35 centimeters, and it was perfect for this hat. And now I just, for the decreases, I'm knitting in magic loop with a bigger cable. And I knit, so I still have this much left from the first ball of alpaca, and I just finished the melody, the first ball of the melody, so I started with the second one. And if you want to know, maybe I have the length. So the alpaca is 167 meters, and the melody, no, this is still an alpaca silk. And the melody, I have it here, is 140 meters. So that's why I finished it before. And I think I will need to start another ball of yarn of the alpaca one because I only have this one left, and the decreases measure about 5.5 centimeters. I measured it with the gauge that I have and the number of rounds that I have to make to finish the decreases. So I'm gonna have to use another ball. So it's a bit more than one ball of each yarn to make this hat. And I think that's it for this one. If you want a pattern similar to this also, but it's completely not the same gauge, it's really similar to the Oslo hat, for example. So yeah, with this 3-folded brim, started from the bottom and going up in stockinette stitch. A really simple pattern. So that's it for the projects, and I was really excited to start another project. So I made the swatches. I made 2 swatches, which are here. So to understand a bit why I wanted to make another project is that this is the woolen honey sweater that I'm wearing. So it's a pattern from Andrea Mari. It's a fingering white yarn, but the whole body is made in garter stitch. So I think the fabric is a bit denser, and so it's quite warm. It's my warmer garment, so I wear it quite a lot. But I think it's not warm enough, and at times I feel like I would need a jumper a bit warmer. And I thought that would be the case with the pant cardigan, but it's not. And I think the difference is that the pant cardigan is quite open. It's a v-neck, so I have this whole part here that does not have any yarn, and it's not covered. So I needed one that would be warmer, and I wanted one in DK weight yarn, and not, oops, sorry, I dropped my swatch, and not in fingering weight yarn. So when I looked through the patterns, I had this one that I saw from Sari Nordlund. I saw it when she was looking for test knitters, and I just thought I will have to knit it because it's perfect. It's really the right jumper for me. So it's the Sveaborg pullover. I think that's how she pronounces it. I'm not sure. Which is a pullover that has a zipper all the way to the top. So the zipper starts a bit like from here, and it goes to the top, and the collar is a bit folded. It's not a turtleneck sweater, but it's a big collar that comes a bit down. And so I made the swatch. Do I have the camera stops because I didn't have battery anymore? So as I was saying, this is a cone of wool in it, which is 100% pure wool, British wool. And did they put the colorway in here? Yes, it's chestnut brown, and it's a 500-gram cone. It's a fingering weight yarn here. I think a bit like the horse garn super soft. This is a light fingering. And so I knitted around 400 grams of it to make this jumper. So I took a cone, and I will hold the yarn double because I need to have a DK weight yarn. So I made 2 swatches, small ones, because we needed to make a swatch with, I think, mustache. I'm not sure. So this one here. Doesn't make the focus anymore. Here it is. The first swatch, and the second swatch is with a part of the cable, which is here. And it was okay. I had the right gauge, so this is the next project, and I knit the swatch with 3mm needles, which are the same needles that I'm using for the Mahal sweater. So I have to wait until this sweater is finished to be able to start this one. So I do have that in mind. So I'm not gonna rush through it, but still, I really want to have this sweater, this Sveaborg, because I really like it. I really need to have a warm jumper. So yeah, I'm looking here because the Mahal sweater is here. So this is the next project. And I also wanted to talk to you a bit about mending, because my first pair of socks that I made has a hole in them, and this is the first pair of socks that I made. You recognize the wool. It's the same wool as the one I used for my Tabi socks, and the hole is here. It's just here. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe if I put my hand in it. Here, there's a big hole. I have no idea how I did that, though I've been wearing them quite a lot. I knit them 3 years ago, and those were my first pair of socks, and I didn't knit other socks right after those, and so I've been wearing them really a lot, and so yeah, I wanted to try to mend them because, well, the rest of the sock is perfect. I'm wearing them at home, outside in shoes, in flip-flops, even though I don't have the big toe separated. But yeah, so I wanted to have your advice, if you have any, if you've already tried to mend some knits, because I've never done it, and I've looked up on internet and I found some videos, but I'm not sure it's the right one, the right way to do it. So if you do have already tried to mend your socks or a garment or anything, well, please tell me, because I really want to try to mend it. And this would be really good because I could actually practice on the socks, and I don't really mind if it's not perfect and if we can see it, but if it happens on a jumper, for example, I would really want to be able to mend it correctly in a way that we don't see it much. So that would be a good practice. And I think that was all for today. I think that's going to be a long podcast this time, and I know I haven't been able to record earlier, and I saw all my projects going, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a lot of projects to talk about in the next video, so I'm gonna try to record a bit sooner. That's what I said last time, but we shall see. I hope you like this podcast, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!